classic car price slump. Is it happening? We're going to look at the results of our predictions from the last episode. It sure looks like there is one going on. We've got some pretty cool cars to make new predictions on, like a flat bow 964. We'll see if that breaks the slump. This is Bid Nerds. The bidding starts right now. Bid Nerds is your YouTube car game show. That's right, everybody. We are in studio for a live Bid Nerds right here in the Container Park in downtown Las Vegas. Check it out. We got Michael Deeb, we got Anthony Vieira, we got Buddha in the house over here. It is a full house. It is a big time. This is like all Bid Nerds all the time right here tonight. How you guys doing? We got Michael Deeb over there in the corner. What's going on, Michael Deeb?
Hey, I'm in town for autofest, so obviously JP, you and Chef guys just did an amazing job. We survived. We are all like dragging our butts, but man, autofest was spectacular. We had a great time. We got a little sun kiss, went for a drive today, and now we've got a crowded house in studio. JP, this has been an amazing weekend, but congratulations, dude, on just crushing it with that show. It was quantifiably the best one yet, and we're all real proud of you, man. That was awesome.
Couldn't have done it without you guys. I super appreciate everyone that contributed so much to the show this weekend and all the work that went into making it happen before this weekend. There was a lot going on to make that happen, and it definitely was the best AutoFest of all time. We were hoping to have Chef here tonight, but he, I think his significant other was like, "That's it, enough cars. You have to come and have dinner with his wife or whatever." So here it is.
Is there a chance he just comes sliding on a set like Kramer in the middle of dialogue? Just he'll come in like on socks, just sliding through.
Definitely needs to happen.
Okay,
that's
cool.
what I'm
Clear
saying.
a landing path.
That's right. Anthony over here. What's going on? Look at that. I got the cameras snapping on you from Idaho. What do you think? What do you think of AutoFest?
AutoFest was amazing. JP put on a fantastic show. Everyone, was having a great time. We got to ride around, do some Instagram live moments. Those were fun.
Yeah, check out the Instagram live, you guys, if you get a chance. On the
Incriminating.
We were like,
incriminating.
Those are great puppies, and he's like, and there were actual puppies on the ground, and
right.
Anthony's like, yeah.
Euphemism.
All right, guys.
Hey, can I say one last thing?
Sure.
Perhaps the single most endearing moment of AutoFest was when a young pre-adolescent boy won the Smith's Grand Prize of the raffle from the weekend, and when his mom found out that the son had won the watch that Anthony had made, and then they came up and they were like clearly touched and moved, and the celebration and the big crowd having having that DJ kind of MC the awards assembly. JP wound up being a bit of a coup, and so you had this big crowd of people, and they were all like chomping to see who was going to win the Grand Prize. And they pulled the prize of this young boy, and he was just blown away. And his mom was like shaking. I mean, it was really cool. And I thought that was the best moment of the show. It was really cool. That's
what you always want to see is, when you make something, it really touches the person that it goes to.
Yeah.
And, it's going to be a really cool, fun watch for that kid to grow up with, and I wish him the best.
That box you presented the watch in looked like a damn humidor. It was just awesome. I mean, you could see it from across the lawn. It was really well done. So, yeah, that was my favorite moment. It was really cool.
That was awesome. All right, guys. Well, if you didn't make it out to AutoFest this year, you kind of missed out. But you can always start making plans for next year. September 12th will be the date for next year's show.
Ooh.
So
I'm getting my teeth cleaned.
Deeb's got a thing. Deeb's got a thing. He's like, I'm not coming all the way back to Vegas to do all that work. You were late for the show anyway. You didn't have to do shit.
I stayed late.
All right, guys. I'm just kidding. All right, let's get to it, guys. We've got predictions to make. Mike, Buddha, you having fun? You in a good spot?
Yeah, I'm great. One thing I want to say about AutoFest is it's a lot of times our car communities are sort of self-segregating. Corvette guys are hanging out themselves, the Jeep guys and the Porsche guys, but like that fairway, it's everyone's coming together, everyone's looking at others' cars. It was such an amazing sense of community, and JP and Chef, so much credit for that.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Awesome. All right, guys. This is a show about cars and auctions, and I'm trying to find the right button for us here. I don't know. Where's the right button here? Here we go. All right. We make predictions. We analyze listings on Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, and other auction sites. And, it's a lot of fun making predictions. But, we've been getting them. It's been getting harder and harder lately. I think we're in a bit of a price slump. There's been a lot of crazy stuff in the news last week. We were really concerned that the things that happened in the news during last week would have affected AutoFest, but in the end, there seemed to be a little bit of bump midweek, but then by the weekend, everyone was just kind of like on, okay, we need a break from all this. Let's go out and have a lot of fun. I'm hoping to see, I'm a little concerned that maybe some of what happened last week affected the prices of cars because everyone's eyeballs were on the news instead of on the auction sites. So it'll be interesting to see what the results of the predictions that we make this week and how the news affects our predictions. But let's get to those predictions because there was definitely a slump. What was the first car on the list, Michael D?
All right, JP, we are going to start off by circling back to a premium listing on Bring a Trailer, and that was for a 2008 Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren Roadster showing just 13,000 miles as a premium listing on BAT. This car, JP, is beautifully presented here out of Osprey, Florida. And the big thing, I think, for this car, it's got fair mileage, but I thought that the color, being this dark blue metallic that Mercedes McLaren decided to call crystal, I still don't know how to say this, Dijonais blue paint, and then matched with this sort of beige, they call beige silver arrow leather upholstery. I thought that the colorway might have a chance to sort of lift this car up. And in fact, JP, earlier in the year, another crystal Dijonais blue paint car had sold at RM Sotheby's and brought, if I remember correctly, about $450,000, including the buyer's premium at RM Sotheby's earlier in this calendar year of 2025. So with this car as a premium listing out of Florida at the end of the season, would it have a chance to do really well and get into that price range? And again, JP, for context, our friends at Classic.com tell us that the average selling price of an SLR Roadster, a McLaren SLR Roadster, is still $406,000. The blue paint and the blue paint comp that sold earlier this year with just 10,000 miles, I thought would have a chance to get this car to replicate what that car had done at RM Sotheby's. And boy, was I excited to throw down my bid at that same number, $450,000. JP, you were way more bearish on this one. Your bid, my God, man, 80 grand under mine, $370,000 is all you would ante up for this blue one. And we know you hate blue cars, so I thought that was it. And then we had Matt on the show. Matt joined us as third nerd. He did really well. JP, what's his nickname? Give it to me again.
Why do you always do that to me? See, okay, I got to say something on the show. You're always like, what was that guy's name again? How the hell am I supposed to know? I don't know. I don't keep notes right here on the... I'm trying to produce the show, and you're putting me on the spot. Never do that to me again. If you don't know the guy's name, just don't ask. Just move on. It's over. It's going to be that kind of show tonight.
Lucas, text me that guy's name again. The width of your screen, I thought you had all the pages up. Your computer is so big, and I've got this little tiny laptop. Anyways, Matt joined us as third nerd, and he was great. His bid splitting the difference between us at $400,000 even. Buddha, did you watch the last show? What was your bid on the McLaren SLR Roadster, and what'd you think of the blue paint?
I didn't love the color, and I was actually a little under JP, so I think a 350.
350, yeah. That's a good guess. And Anthony, what'd you think?
I love these cars. I didn't make a bid during the last show, so
Salami toss, just throw a number out.
I don't know. It's got to be 355, something like that.
355. So you guys are lower than everybody that's on paper, so to speak, and you guys would be closest because JP, here's where it gets real interesting. Our car hammered for $322,000 on 23 bids. Now, if you would have told me last show that was a hammer, I would have said FTS. It sold for that number, which is really surprising to me. And I don't think we missed anything. So I'm going to be the first one to offer up my opinion and say that's really well bought. I still think these cars, as much as you and I, JP, like to tease these cars and their owners that are investing big money in them, as they are largely parts bin cars, they are still a special footnote in that collaboration during a successful Grand Prix campaign between Mercedes and McLaren. These cars are collectible, even if you and I want to make fun of all the buttons being something you'd find right out of an SL on these like super fancy hand-built cars. People are paying big money, and so to grab something this rare with fair miles and good comps around it for this number, JP, there's no way you're going to tell me that's not well bought, no matter what you think of the future of the McLaren SLR Roadster. So, John, you get to go second. What do you think of that result? Namely, the fact that he was willing to take that. Do you agree that it's well bought, or are you going to argue with me right off the bat? I thought we were friends.
Yeah, well, I mean, not so much, let's be honest. I know that I'm always right, you're wrong. No, honestly, I think this was a hot potato moment. This is one of those things, this is one of the risks that you take when you run a car for sale on any auction, not just the online auctions, but I think particularly with online auctions, when bad news is all over the media, people's eyeballs go somewhere else. And our guest, Matt, the motor something or another, Motorator, that's what it was. Good save, Deep. Good save. The Motorator was convinced that anyone looking to buy a car at this level, the folks who had already bid, were pretty much in it. They're like, yeah, they were committed. And I think that's completely BS. I think the only person that's committed is the high bidder. So if you bid on Wednesday and the auction closes on Friday, and something happens bad on Thursday and no one bids above you, everyone else below you is going, phew, I didn't have to deal with it. I'm not going to be stuck with a hot potato. And I think there's evidence to this because the last bid, there was a bid for, what was it, $321, and then the seller noted on the auction in the comments that the reserve was listed, and there was a single bid after that, $1,000 more. Usually when the seller says that they're lifting the reserve, that sparks a little fire into the auction. People go, oh, okay, someone's getting this car. That gets people motivated. But I think people's eyeballs were not on this auction. I don't think they were on any auctions, and I think that's why this car didn't do so well. What do you think, Anthony?
I think whoever bought the car, they got a bargain. McLaren, they're supporting this car. They're special services. They're doing a lot of crazy builds with them at McLaren. So I think this car is going to be special for years to come. $322,000, that's a bargain. Yeah. Absolute bargain.
Buddha, what's your take?
Yeah, great bargain. And I newsflash, JP and I might disagree, but I don't know about the new, because that we talked at dinner the other night about that Cayenne that went over 100. So it's who shows up at that auction at that particular moment that wants it, and what's it worth to them.
Yeah, but that Cayenne sold at the beginning of the week before the bad news. So
I thought it closed at the end.
No, it didn't. We were talking about that at Motor Club. But yeah, regardless, I see where you're at. But I think I'd like to see some examples of maybe something doing well. I think one of the Nerd Herd got a Yahtzee. Who got a Yahtzee?
Who did?
Matthew. I noted it. I had it up on the screen, and then I moved on. So someone got a Yahtzee on that one. Congratulations to the Nerd Herd. Hey, Nerd Herd, thanks for hanging out, guys. We love you. Thanks for being here on a Sunday night and hanging out. Awesome. Yeah, Yahtzee Matt. Which Matt? Matt who? Who Matt got a Yahtzee? Somebody got a Yahtzee.
Good job, Matt.
Let's move on. What was the next car on the list? Was that a hot potato as well? What do we got, Deep?
All right, JP, we are going to check in on this 1997 Porsche 993 Carrera 4S. This is a coupe with a 6-speed manual and just 42,000 miles from new, listed on P-Car Market. JP, these cars have been really hot right now. The bargains that you can find are still sort of your narrow body 911s, your base cars, but your S's, whether it's a 4S or a 2S, those wide body cars the nice ones continue to creep towards $200,000, and we have in fact seen a couple examples break 200 grand. This one is in resale silver, otherwise known as Arctic silver, listed out of Franklin, Tennessee. And with the low mileage, JP, in pretty nice condition, I thought this car, value-wise, would have a chance to kind of get into that realm. The question is, how's the platform doing? And is the platform going to enhance that visibility and get it there, or is the platform going to hold it back? Time and time again, we seem to lack faith in what P-Car Market can produce with regards to results. So this seemed like a really good example. This is a blue chip car. But JP, right off the bat, terrible assets for this car. Like, this car should have been shot way, way better if you're going to stand a chance. And personally, I think this car should have gone to a different platform. JP, our friends at Classic.com tell us that the C4S variety of the 993 are only $138,000, but I think that's a lot of old data for a lot of high mileage cars. The premium ones like this with the low mileage, I really feel like that number should be higher. However, my bid reflects my lack of faith in the platform, and I hate saying that, but my God, $140,000 is all I could ante up. JP, ever more bearish than I am with regards to the opinion of P-Car Market. John didn't think it would even come close to 100. His bid, $93,300. And Matt DeAndrea from the CarCast, otherwise known as the Motorator, joined us as third nerd remote on the last show. He was great, had a lot of good takes. Closer to me, up at $125,000. So this time, Anthony, we'll start with you. Do you remember seeing the C4S? I think we share a similar opinion about P-Car. What do you think this car could have hammered for?
I love these cars, and I this is a car that you should not be able to screw up on any platform. This is meat and potatoes, easy to sell. Everybody wants one of these. These are great cars, right? So, I would say the car had to bring 140.
140. So that's my bid. So
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. We're in the same ballpark.
Yeah,
that's a grand over under it. What do you like?
144.
144. There you go. Okay. And Buddha, tell me what you thought of this car, and what do you think it would have brought on P-Car?
I love this car. It's again, terrible picks, but I just love this car. I'm a big 4S. I love 4Ss. Porsche never made better looking butts than they did with the 4Ss.
Yeah.
But
supple leather is spelled B-A-L-L-S-A.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
It's spelled B-A-L-L-S-A-C-K.
Supple. But I think, again, platform. So I don't even think this thing, I'll go a little higher than JP, so I'll say maybe the bidding got to 110.
110. Okay. And listen, we understand where you guys are at, but you should be listening to Anthony because he got the closest. Our car hammering for $142,993, where, as we expected, it failed to sell on a respectable 42 bids, JP. So now the car is in what P-Car Market calls Marketplace. It's a classified ad. It'll sit there for 3 weeks. They are asking $170,000 for it. So JP, let's run it right back to you at $142,000, and Classic saying $138,000 is the average for a C4S of this variety. Do you think they should have taken that money, or do you think holding out for $170,000 is, I don't know, the right path towards the sale? In other words, do you think this car is worth $170,000? I'm not saying holding out with P-Car Market is going to get it done, but the ask is $170,000. Is that to you more the value of this car, or do you think they should have taken the 143 and run with it?
The guy right over there, the guy directly across from me, Anthony, was the first person to point out on this show, maybe in the comments on the Nerd Herd, that, look, P-Car Market has trained their audience not to bid what the car is worth and just to wait and see what the unreasonable seller is going to ask for the car in their classified chum bucket. And this is the case once again. We are seeing C4Ss, or at least have been over the summer, getting darn near 200, and some of them even more. This one with the bad assets on a bad platform, people are just paying less and less attention because they're going, why do I want to go to a platform that has no objection to wasting my time if I'm a buyer? Why do I want to be here? They don't care if I'm here, so what the hell? Anthony, what do you think of that result?
Well, I think it's a marketplace ad. It's a PCA marketplace ad now. That's
Renless.
Renless, anything like that. If you can't sell one of these at auction, if you can't get a retail number for this car, your auction platform is it's no good. It's done. Just sell in the chum bucket. Why even have an auction?
Yeah, I mean, P-Car Market does have a direct to chum bucket option. You don't have to waste the time. Why go through a week
skip the pretense
of an auction having a bunch of people not bid to the number that you want and make bad comments about your car? Buddha, what do you think of the result?
And if you're going to have crappy assets like this, that should be for just the classified ad.
Totally.
If they're going to put it up on the auction, take some pictures.
JP, are these the worst photos we've seen for a car of this caliber like all year? I
I
mean,
don't know. That's
under a tree.
It's tough to go that high, but
dude.
yeah, these are really bad
There's
photos.
there's no breakfast sandwich in it.
I think
It's tough to beat the
breakfast
guy
that's
holding.
that's a trophy. The
English
breakfast
muffin
sandwich.
and
Yeah, the
some plastic
McMuffin
bag.
guy. Yeah, that was good.
I think with the reason why PCAR still does an auction is so they get names to go work when it hits the bucket. They want to know who's interested.
Yeah.
That's all it is taking the temperature before,
Prospecting.
It's a very good point because all the other auction sites, if the car fails to meet reserve, the auction site, like Bring a Trailer Cars and Bids, will put together the top bidder with the seller and let them have a shot at finishing the sale. Whereas PCAR Market, they call everyone who bid. They'll just reach out to them and be like, "Hey, you want a shot at the car?" And they'll pit those folks against one another, just like any other used car dealership. So that's a very good point, Anthony. All right, let's move on. Is there a slump in the classic car market, or is it just the platforms are effing up? What's the next car on our list, Steve?
All right, JP, a car that you liked even more than I could have imagined. This 1995 Toyota MR2 Turbo with a 5-speed manual that was on Bring a Trailer out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, was showing only 8,000 miles from new. I don't have my notes from the last show in front of me, but our bid turn told us that this was like one of only like 25 or 45 cars they had made for the year, or 125. It was a really low production number for the manual MR2 in 95. This car basically in showroom condition with only 8,000 miles. And JP, the pendulum swings way the other way. After looking at that 993 on PCAR Market with poor assets, we are treated here to professional assets. And the car just has way more presence, and yet it's just a lowly Toyota MR2. Radwood, Youngtimer, JP, these cars are having a moment. We have not seen an MR2 of the Toyota variety like go ballistic and say, hit 6 figures. And we wondered aloud as we covered this car on the last show if this might be the one to touch 6 figures and really kind of put the MR2 on the map and start waking collectors up to the car. I didn't quite think it would get there. My bid reflecting my hesitation in anointing this car because it didn't really win any reviews when it was matched up against its competitors like the 300Z or the Integra Type R. Those cars all brought home the trophies from the magazine, so I didn't think this car could get to 100 grand. My bid, just 80. JP, you did believe in this car. Your bid, $102,000. And Matt D'Andrea, the Motorator from the CarCast podcast, joined us as third nerd on the last show. He believed in this car and went 10 grand over JP at $112,000. Buddha, right to you. You drive essentially a red Toyota with a manual transmission. Tell me you don't have a soft spot in your heart for this car right here, and give me a bid for it as it was presented beautifully on BAT.
Yeah, I definitely this sort of era of Toyota is obviously nostalgic, and flashback to those times in my life. I'm going to say, though, that this did not generate that much excitement, and I'm going to put it at about 80.
80, good. That works. Anthony, what do you think? Any love for the old Japanese cars from high school? And what do you think this one could have hit?
No, well, I think this is a better opportunity than an NSX, in my opinion. But I don't see it as a $100,000 car. It's not as good as a Lotus with essentially similar drivetrain, right? So I 75 grand.
75 grand?
That seems like a ton for that.
And, you and Buddha would be in the hunt. JP, you and Matt walked out on that plank all by yourselves, and nobody went with you. Our car hammering for only $71,000, but it sold on that number on a respectable 43 bids. JP, I'm guessing since this landed $31,000 under your bid that you'll agree with me that it was pretty well bought. If we see some other nice cars surface and do equally well, then I think these guys are ahead of the curve and the Toyota could be moving in that direction. But I'm going to reserve my opinion for this is an outlier, and even if a bunch more MR2s come to market, it'll be tough to see 70 grand or anything over 50 for one of these cars ever again. JP, where are you at on my opinion versus the hammer?
Yeah, I mean, I do think this is a bit of a hot potato situation because of the bad news, but I don't think that's the reason why it failed to get where we thought, or some of us thought it would go. A lot of the nerd herd followed me out to the edge of that limb. This car really is magnificent. I don't think it's fair to compare this car to a Supra because they were never in the same category. They weren't supposed to be. I mean, it's the same manufacturer. They weren't putting out two cars to compete with one another, right? Even though that is what happened. These cars cannibalized the Supra. So look, I think the big problem with this car, and will always be a problem with this car, is that unlike the Supra, it wasn't in Fast and the Furious. Unlike the Type R, it wasn't in a video game. Unlike a lot of those cars, like the NSX, which really did was the first Japanese supercar, this car was a giant killer, but it was a budget giant killer. Even though this is the turbo variant of it, it was the most expensive, most luxurious, best performing version of this car. They were mad popular years later in the used market because they were such great platforms, and they all got just roached. Every one of them was destroyed. It's impossible to find one this clean. True. And I think that means that this car will hold its value, but yeah, is it going to get to $100,000? It's just not in the zeitgeist, even with the young timers. Anthony, what do you think?
It's not a $75,000 ownership experience, in my opinion. So
I don't know.
And they didn't sell when these were new.
Opinion, JP.
When these were new, a Celica the MR2 was in the middle. It was Celica, MR2, and Supra as far as like pricing went.
Right.
And kind of at times when you looked at this, it was a little small, less practical than the Celica.
Yeah.
Maybe depending on not more fun to drive depending on which Celica you could get. So I think it was overpriced at that time, and that sentiment carried.
Yeah, that is true. It was terribly expensive, and it was maligned in the press as a very dangerous car. This was the most wrecked car of its era. Think about that. When these came out, when the turbos hit the ground. Well, yeah, because honestly, there were more Toyotas.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
There weren't as many Vipers to crash yet.
Yeah.
And this car hit the ground in 90, 91, whereas the Viper didn't hit until 93 or whatever.
Yeah.
So people were dying left and right in these damn things,
Wow.
and I think that really hurt sales.
We should quantify percentages because the Viper, as I understood it, the Viper was like most
per capita,
likely,
maybe we got a different story. That'd be interesting to
and on the drive home from the dealership, like the guy couldn't even make it back to his house to show his wife. He got into that torque and spun it.
All right, guys, what do you think of the results of that Toyota? Let's move on to another Toyota. What's the next one on the list, Steve?
One last car, JP, before we go to break and talk about our Smiths. Actually, can we just have Anthony do his own commercial tonight? Like, my
maybe.
God, Jesus, I'm so tired.
We're all wearing
God.
Smith watches. Come on.
All right, JP, we took a quick look at a 2008 Toyota FJ Cruiser with 42,000 miles and a 6-speed manual. This car looked to be all stock. Bright yellow, which in most cases kind of hurts a car. But I think on a car like this, JP, where you're likely to throw it off a mountain, this would be good to have a bright yellow one, as we've learned from Jeep and all that sort of thing. Fair mileage, actually low mileage when you consider the vintage of the car, on a clean New York title and on the correct site for getting a retail number. Cars and Bids. Doug DeMiro, I think, is the right person to sort of champion your car. And so I thought this car, JP, might teach us a little something about the market for these once beloved, sort of cult followed little FJ Cruisers. JP, our friends at Classic.com tell us that these cars typically bring in the secondary market only $28,000. And that includes both the automatics and the manuals. They do not separate the column for those two drivetrains. That is very important on sports cars, less so, I think, in the SUV market, but I still thought relevant. And with this one being a 6-speed on my mind, my bid went over Classics, and I dropped my number at $31,000. JP, you actually took the over and went to $32,000. And Matt DeAndrea, the Motorator from the CarCast podcast, joined us as Third Nerd remotely from his place in SoCal. He was just underneath me at $30,500. Anthony, we'll throw it to you. Doug DeMiro's the site.
Yeah.
Car's got a manual. Any love for these things? And throw a number at it.
Yes, this is what Toyota is great at. SUVs, 4Runners, Land Cruisers, this stuff. They have such a great cult following. This is a great car. It's going to last forever. 36 grand.
36
That's
grand.
where I'd be.
Anthony drank the Kool-Aid on the Toyota. Where you at, Buddha? I know you're a Toyota owner. What do you say?
I'm gonna just go 3605, right
What
above
the
Anthony.
hell is going on?
Because I think that Toyota's put hybrids in everything now. People want a V6 in their SUV and a manual. They don't make anything that cool right now.
It's going to live forever.
I think people want it, so I'm going to get the highest bid.
Okay, so all right, Anthony, as I drop this result, we're going to talk about how PCAR failed on that 993 C4S. Our car hammered at only $25,500, where it failed to sell on just 12 bids. JP, we didn't miss anything. It's got a clean Carfax. There's nothing wrong with it. I didn't see like rust or anything. There was nothing in our notes about the car. Why the hell did Doug DeMiro struggle to sell a car everybody in the room thought would bring over $30,000? What am I missing here, man? What the hell?
This is absolutely a bad news. This
this
is a
the hot
result of
potato?
bad news. This is because look, with Bring a Trailer gets many hundreds of thousands of views on any given day. They sell 100 cars a day or more. Eyeballs are looking at that platform regardless of what's going on in the news. So if you have 600,000 people normally on any given day and you cut that in half, that's still 300,000 buyers looking at cars. Cars and Bids does not have that luxury. They have a fraction of that much traffic. So if you have a bad news cycle and you're taking eyeballs off of that platform, you got a problem. And I think that, unfortunately, because this is such a great vehicle,
right,
and it is something that people are looking at. Anthony, what do you think of the results?
I agree with you. It's because of the news cycle, but I think it's a step further than that. These cars really mean something to guys my age. This is more of a family guy car, less of a single guy or gal car. And I think with the news cycle, people my age were really affected. And I know a lot of people just said, you know what? I don't want to do anything right now. And so that's the only explanation, because you're on the right platform with this car. And what more can you ask for out of an FJ? That's kind of the one. That's a really good one.
Yeah. Buddha, what do you think?
I'm surprised it went that low. But I think maybe I've just haven't paid attention. I've not seen to me these things were still hot as could be. And I think Deeb's right. That's a color. Yellow might be a downturn for some cars, but on this, I thought it was good looking and manual.
You know what? Friend of the show, Andy Stahl, who again, thanks Andy for helping out at AutoFest this weekend.
It was good to see Andy.
Yeah, it was, right?
Yeah.
He had one of these that he sold fairly recently, and we helped him do it. We got Bid Nerds does help folks sell cars on Bring a Trailer. That is a service that we offer. Go to bidnerds.biz if you want to hire the Bid Nerds to sell your car. One of the cars that we had a great result with was an FJ Cruiser with low miles like this, and we got well over $40,000 for that thing. But I think that like Anthony was thinking about keeping it. He also represents what does he do? He represents folks when estate sales, right? So it wasn't his car; it was a car that he was representing for the estate, and. He was like thinking about maybe owning it himself, and being a car guy, he was like, yeah, it's manual, it's Toyota, it's all these things. But he was kind of like, it just didn't have the heart that I wanted to drive around with something. And he was thinking maybe a G-Wagon or something a little bit flashier. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments, and let's move on. Is there a slump in the classic car market? It is time to make some predictions.
Yep.
So first, we're going to go to a quick word from our sponsor, who happens to be sitting across the table.
Yeah.
Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths, fine Swiss repair.
Okay, we're back. I had to do a little technical thing. All right.
JP's out of
Welcome
breath.
back, everyone. It is time for predictions right here on the Bid Nerds. Thanks for sticking around. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do so. If you're watching this live, that is the best way to experience Bid Nerds because you can play along with us. And even better is when you introduce yourself in the chat. That's the live chat down below. Introduce yourself. You're going to make great friends. If you're into cars, we are having a good time. A lot of people are asking about my hat, Michael Deeb. I don't know where I got this hat, and I don't know why, but it just it fits really. It's very comfortable. I don't know why it's so comfortable. I don't know why it fits so good on my head. What's going on with this hat?
So JP, you know there's this this little analogy that sometimes you don't pick a good book, a really good book picks you. When I saw that hat, it didn't take a full second for you to come to mind, and so I thought it was just very apropos. So in celebration of Sahan's birthday earlier in the summer, I got Sahan a hat, and I picked that one up for you. Aptly, it says, "May the bridges I burn light the way." JP, I don't know. I mean, is it comfortable on your head? Does it almost like you're not wearing
Look, it's a
anything else?
positive message in a dark time. We got to lend light to everything that's going on in the country. So I'm feeling it. All right, guys, you're not here for the hats. You're here. If you want a really good hat, you got to go get yourself a Bid Nerds hat. That's what you really need right here.
Yeah. I got
Bid
one of them.
Nerds hats are available at. We've got the link down below. We've got them on the Aaron Waters site. Rochelle has set up her. There's so much cool stuff on there now. She has her Shopify so set up.
Yeah.
If you want one of our cool guys custom bracelets made by Aaron Water that matches your watch, this is a vintage watch that Anthony right over there has found for me. I'm very, very, very in love with this thing. But if you and then all kinds of jewelry for women and men, check that link out in the description below and go do some shopping while we get to some predictions. All right, what is the first car on the list? Is there still a slump going on? Was it just temporary because of the bad news of last week? Are we going to get over this slump? What's the first car on the list? See if we can figure this out.
All right, JP. Every time we pick on P-Car Market, out of the goodness of our hearts, JP, you and I, we put our hearts and our heads together and we think, well, let's give them another try. So here we go. P-Car Market, you are on the clock. Check out this 1994 Porsche 964 Turbo S. That is also an X85 Flakbau, which is essentially the slant nose treatment to this particular Turbo S. Our car showing just 45 miles from new. JP, that is what they call delivery miles. Out of North Miami Beach, Florida, our car looks very handsome in Grand Prix white with a tan interior and sort of that machine polished look to the Speedline wheels that are specific to this model. JP, it is said that only 76 1994 Turbo S's were made. And of those 76, JP, 39 of them were delivered to the U.S. Isn't that incredible? Like, we'll just step back for half a second and take that in. They only made 76, and more than half of them came to one market. It is unbelievable to see what the American thirst for cars does to Porsche's production. That is just mind-boggling to me. This one is rarer still because of the aforementioned X85 configuration being delivered in the United States with the Flakbau. Unlike the G-bodies, JP would have the sort of the lids on the lights that pop up. These are flush, but they're the naked lenses, and when you hit the button, those pop up. And when you factor in the rarity of a Turbo S, add the Flakbau, and now we're looking at only delivery miles. You think, my God, where did a car that rare come from? How did they find it? Well, thank you for asking. That car was part of the White Collection in Houston, Texas, and RM Sotheby's did a big sale of that collection. This car having been auctioned live at one of the big auction houses, and that was in December of 2023. And JP, for good measure, I'll give you that number because I have it here pulled up in my notes. The car brought at that time, including the buyer's premium, a very healthy $1,426,500 $500. So JP, as I throw it to you, I think it's relevant as we discuss this car to tell everybody that our car is going to close tomorrow and it's sitting at $750,000. So do we actually think with a straight face that this car is going to effectively double in value tomorrow? Every once in a while, P-Car Market pulls a proverbial rabbit out of the hat, and you and I have to eat a little bit of crow in celebration of their successes. But what I'm more concerned about here is that the numbers or the odds are stacked against P-Car Market by finding a niche buyer for even this rare car on an international platform. I think it's way more likely that this car FTSs, and I have to wonder, a guy who's smart enough to earn $1.5 million to throw down on a Porsche he never intended to drive, why wouldn't he have the good sense to bring it back to a professional auction house when it's his turn to let it go? One, I think it's coming back to market too soon. Two, why on earth would you bring this car to P-Car Market? And so I just, it's a head scratcher. Like, what are these people thinking? You've got the good sense to earn all this money, but like, it's more likely that he burns this car than retails it for more than he overpaid for it in the first place. So there's my hot take, JP, as I send it off to you. You and I will probably cry in our Thai rice later on tonight. But this car should be driven. It's a shame that it only has 45 miles. It's such a cool car. But okay, you want to be the custodian of this like museum piece, that's great. But man, these bad decisions. You're going to pay too much, and he's going to burn it before he ever gets to sell it. And now this scarlet letter is going to hang over any future negotiation for retailing this car down the road because it's not likely to sell here tomorrow. JP, what do you think?
This is the kind of situation that is just so darn P-Car. I mean, look, I don't know why they didn't. If they weren't planning on keeping it for very long, why didn't they sell it at one of the live auctions in Monterey just a few freaking weeks ago when they could have gotten actual money for this thing? Look, the most P-Car Market thing I think I've seen in a while is looking at the comments, and Porsche Guy 44, right? I mean, he was busy, I don't know, ironing the pleats for his pants or his shorts. While he commented, he said in the comments, you guys, this is so PCA. Why does it show pictures of 42 miles and the description says 45 miles?
Oh man, he's got them dead to rights there.
I mean,
wow.
He spent time. He's like, did he text this? What in the F? Why did? Anthony, what do you make of that, and what do you make of this listing? You're a PCA president in your chapter.
Well,
what do you do about these guys?
I'm gonna shout out. We have something called Oktoberfest coming up October 5th, which is a big Porsche car show. About 150 cars we have coming in. We actually have one of these coming in, and they're great cars, but once again, I would be shocked if P-Car sells this car. This car should have been sold privately. I mean, who's the guy that wants this car on P-Car? I mean, it almost feels like you'd be embarrassed as a multi-million-dollar collector to say, yeah, no, I picked it up at P-Car. It was great. They sent me a hat and a T-shirt, and
I think we have a couple of those hats in the closet. Buddha, what do you think?
I guess I'm so used to seeing Porsches of this era. People have done a little stance work to them, but the wheel gap on the pictures you pulled up, you could stick your head in there. It's just unbelievable.
And there's some big ass heads in this room. All right, Deep, what's this car going to bring?
There we go. All right, JP. According to our friends at classic.com, there is a column, JP, for the Turbo S, and that number is $951,000. JP, we have seen the ones that have transacted, that have hit, that are basically collector mileage examples, are bringing comfortably over $1 million. But the cars that have been driven and have a few thousand miles on them, those cars are comfortably under $1 million, and so that's why that average number comes out right there. Again, this car transacted with RM out of the white collection at that specified auction back in December of 2023. At that time, the Hammer plus the buyer's premium came out to $1,462,500. John, our car is sitting at $750,000 right now on 5 bids, and it will hammer tomorrow. John, I do think it gets a couple more bids, but I think that the classic average is going to weigh heavy on anybody looking at this car. I think this is a car you need to spend a lot of time, examining and inspecting and making sure everything's perfect before you invest top dollar in a premium blue chip collectible car. And so I just think it's a stretch to think that you're going to find, your $1.5 million back on any of the online platforms. It would be tough to sell even on BAT. JP, my bid for this car, $950,000 and a fat FTS. And the problem there is now, Mr. Owner of this car, you've burnt your own asset. Why would you do that? So $950,000 at Hammer. I don't think it comes anywhere close to what he's got invested in it. And so I don't think it's going to come anywhere close to selling. $950,000 to you, JP. What's your bid?
Yeah, I mean, it's so amazing that we're talking about this listing, and we are all just basically so kind of taken back by how bad P-Car market is that none of us have even mentioned how bad these assets are.
Yeah,
I mean, you're trying to get $1 million for the car, but that's almost just like par for the course. You're like, well, yeah, of course the assets suck. It's P-Car market. They have no gatekeepers in that regard. This car has no chance getting over the $1 million. I think anyone who's interested in this car, there are people that will pay the money. There's people that will pay maybe even what it brought last time or more, but none of them are going to bid more than once because they know that all they need to do is bid once to get on the list so that when it fails to sell because it doesn't meet reserve, they just want to be one of the people that the salespeople call back because they're not only going to call back the guy on top of the list, they're going to call everyone, give them a shot. Anthony, what's your number?
750,000. This thing's done.
Yeah.
They're
Not
done.
another bid.
No, the bidders are done. And nobody believes this car is selling. So why would you even waste a credit card charge?
Yeah.
Right. Hey, I forgot to give a bid.
Yeah,
I'll go ahead and
JP,
go.
where's your bid?
Yeah, 800,964 and however many zeros that is after that to make it a six-figure number. All right, Buddha, what do you think?
I'm going to slot in right between those two, so 775. Maybe he gets one guy throws another $25,000 at it.
Yeah, it's anybody's guess. It's really more about how many people are interested and just want to be on the list than the number at the end of the day because nobody's going to be fighting for it.
JP, I've never asked you this opinion. I know you and I both universally agree that like a 964 Turbo S with 385 horsepower is got to be one of the best air-cooled Porsche experiences you could ever hope to drive. But are you thumbs up or thumbs down to the slant nose? Do you like this? It's got kind of a 928 treatment to the headlights. And I've never asked you if you like this car. If I could say, hey, pick a Turbo S from the 964 era, would you want regular lights or do you like the slant nose?
Regular lights for sure. The pop-up 928 style lights I think look ridiculous. There was a fella in town, we covered the car maybe a year ago, who had a 964 that he built and made it into a slant nose, and it had the pop-up headlights, and it's completely, totally wrong. So 964 bumpers and rockers and everything like that, but it just looked great anyway. Those pop-up bug eyes, I mean, I don't hate them, but I'm definitely taking the frogs way before I go that route. All right, guys, we got to move on. We got a bunch of other cars to cover. So what do you guys think the flatball will fail at on P-Car Market? What's the next car on the list, Michael D?
JP, our good buddies at OTS and Company out there in the East Bay continue to bring very cool cars to market. Feast your eyes on this Eurospec 1998 Ferrari 550 Maranello. And of course, JP, this car has a 6-speed manual transmission. Painted in the beautiful shade of Tour de France blue with a limited slip differential. And of course, that 5.5 liter 4-cam V12. JP, I don't know if you have ever heard a 550 Maranello with headers, but if not, next time you're bored, go onto YouTube and pull up headers for a 550 Maranello, it literally sounds like a 90s F1 car. And so every time I see one of these, I think, man, it's a set of headers away from being, one of the greatest sounding and funnest driving cars of all time. This particular car started life in Switzerland before coming to the United Kingdom in 2011 and then being imported to the United States in 2024. It has been disclosed that this car has likely been resprayed, although the sellers are not aware of when that might have happened. JP, these cars continue to gain momentum, and I think that they are actually appreciating over the value of the dollar dropping. That's my little nod to you to say, before you tell me, it's just inflation, I do think these cars are bringing a little bit more money, and I hope that this one does really well. I love the way they present it here. They've got a real nice spot to shoot their cars. JP, any love for the 550 Maranello with a 6-speed, 3-pedal? Posse in the house.
I mean, there you go. 3 pedals makes it good. There's so many folks swapping the transmissions on the ones that don't have the 3 pedals. I wonder if that's going to bring the value of the real ones down, since there's finally an option to kind of get into this world without having to break the bank. Anthony, what do you think of this car?
It's my favorite modern Ferrari.
Wow.
It's better looking than the 575, and what else do you want? It's a front-engine Grand Touring V12 Ferrari a la 260 GTO, right?
Yeah, it looks way better than the current Daytona. What do you think over there, Buddha?
I love it. We covered a blue car earlier. We didn't necessarily love that. That's just great blue. And this photo spot, Deep, we've seen, you guys have covered cars that have been shot this spot before. Yeah. And whoever is the photographer is just doing amazing work.
Yeah, ironically, there's a couple of guys that are shooting with OTS, but they go down there. They're not to diminish any of their talent. They're quality guys, but the backdrop is so good, and they seem to have exclusive access to it. It's almost like you couldn't take a bad shot there, and I say that jokingly because if I went down there and shot, they wouldn't come out that good. But those guys are killing it. Great presentation, super cool car. JP, the question is, as we're looking at a car that has 32,000 kilometers, which is 20,000 miles, that's a low odometer, but do the kilometers scare the Ferrari buyer away? In other words, does he prefer a U.S. car, and does a Euro car stand to bring the kind of retail money we would expect if this were a domestic import car? So JP, our friends at classic.com tell us that the 550 Maranello is typically a $170,000 conversation. I think this car with fair odometer and a rare shade had a chance to bring more than that, but because it is a gray market car, I think it has a chance to get to that. So with 3 days to go, JP, our car is sitting at $137,000. And so I'm going to give you my bid. I'm going to go just a little bit over the classic average and say $175,000 at Hammer. And I think that would be enough to get this car sold. But the question is, JP, is there still another 40, 45 grand in it? Where are you at on a gray market Ferrari with 3 pedals? I think 3 pedals is going to carry it. Do you?
I don't know if it's going to get to 170. I do think the 3 pedals are going to help. I do think that this is going to be kind of a canary in the coal mine type week in the auction world. This closes Wednesday. It's Sunday right now at the time of recording.
Yep.
Tuesday or Wednesday. So, Monday is going to be really tough. Anything closing tomorrow is going to be tough because people are going to be all over the news again. They're going back to work. A lot of people went out and did fun stuff over the weekend, like going to AutoFest to kind of take their minds off things. But it's going to be a grind tomorrow for a lot of people, kind of sitting back down at their desk and trying to pay attention to what they need to get done. And then when it comes to thinking about going out and buying a spectacular car like this, I don't know. But, it's BAT, and they always get good numbers in the last 24 hours. It's already at 137. I'm going to go under you anyway and just say it gets, I'm going to say it gets another $20,000 and go 167. 550 and hand it off to Anthony. What do you think?
That's 30,000.
Oh, sorry. Okay, 30,000 good. Fine, why not? I just wanted to be under you, okay, so I can be pessimistic. What do you want? And I got to give Anthony room to be more pessimistic than me.
I think I think the respray is going to hold it back.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so
that's a good point.
I think 162, and that's all she wrote.
162, and that's all she wrote. All right.
Buddha, what do you think?
I'm going to come in at 160 respray, and then the ROW, I don't know how Ferrari guys feel about that as much as maybe as some other car mark collectors. So
yeah. There's no one more petty than a Ferrari buyer. That's,
Okay, an old Ferrari buyer, but we got friends like Wade Bennett from Tech Daily, who's friend of the show and is on often. He's kind of the new generation out there. These guys don't care about that stuff. They just want the experience. They want a cool car with 3 pedals that looks like something like this and performs this way. They don't give 2 rats' asses about the stupid title. If the potential buyer is over the age of 40, then maybe it starts to become an issue. All right, we got to move on. What do you guys think this Ferrari will bring with 3 pedals? Let us know in the comments. And what's the next car, Deep?
All right, JP, we had some hot takes from some great guests lately, and more than one person thought that 996s were on the come up. I had been looking at a white .1, a 996 911 Carrera .1, and it was being offered to me with a factory aero kit for like $50,000 plus. And much as I like the car, I couldn't bring myself to really sit down and negotiate for that car. And I really liked the seller, and the car was fantastic, and I knew the guy that did all the work. And I was like, man, I just can't look at that car at that price. JP, feast your eyes on this Cars and Bids listing. A 1999 Porsche 911 Carrera Coupe with just 42,700 miles. It is a 6-speed manual car with the aforementioned factory aero kit, plus it came equipped with MO30 sports suspension. It's also got factory sports seats. JP, this car is, I just think it's a really pretty car. 996s kind of don't do it for me. This one I think is really cool. I absolutely dig this car. And it's on a Clean Colorado title. And I have to wonder aloud, is this car stand to get into that aforementioned? And, 6 months ago, you and I would have laughed at you, like $50,000 for a 996.1 fried eggs? Hell no. JP, I'm telling you, I think this car could do it. I think this car could hammer starting with a 5. And so that's why I picked it. I love it in this colorway, JP, Arctic silver with the Boxster red interior. You and I both agree that we wish this had a black dash and black door caps. It doesn't. It's a little gaudy, but that's fine. That's not going to hurt it in any quantifiable way. And if you gave it to me, I'd live with it. So, JP, I throw to you a .1.
We're doing a speed round. We're getting to the end of the show. We got very little time. What's the number?
All right, JP, our car is sitting at $35,000 on 18 bids. Classic.com tells us that these cars should only bring 28, but Classic hasn't seen this one. I think it's going to hit 50. JP, $50,000 to you, and it's sitting at 35. What's your bid?
I think it's possible for a .1 to get that kind of numbers, Cars and Bids, so it's going to be a little bit harder to get there. Look, I love 996s. .1s just don't do it for me. This is the first year. Yes, it has an LSD, which is one of the benefits of some of the 99s, and it does have kind of the cool colorway in the aero kit and all that fun stuff. But they just did not have their ish together when they released this car. These are problematic. You want to talk about IMSs and bore scoring and all that kind of stuff. If you're gonna get a 996, get a .2. Get like an anniversary car, or better yet, get a GT with a Metzger or a turbo, like my partner Michael Deeb. So my number, what was your number? What?
50 even. I think it's going to get
50
there.
even. Yeah. I don't think it's going to do it, but I think it's going to do well. I'm going to say 45,996. Gets another $10,000. Anthony, give us a number.
Magnus Walker just sold his a couple weeks ago, which was a 99 Aero Kit in red, and he got 48.
Yeah.
So I think 47 on this one.
Okay.
Yeah, hey, Buddha, what do you think?
That's an educated guess.
42.
Ooh,
42.
Buddha.
Yeah, I mean, come on. If
Buddha owns a 996 and he's bearish.
Yeah, but he's got a .2. He's got a C4S. I mean, that's just a way more popular car. If Magnus couldn't break 50 with his, come on, guys. This ain't happening. Doug ain't gonna get it done, and it's bad news bears. All right, what's the next car, Deep? We're speed round. What we got? Let's see if we can bust these last two out really quick.
All right, in honor of Buddha, we picked a red Toyota sports car. Feast your eyes on this 1990 Toyota Celica all-track turbo. JP, this is a car I always wondered if it would become collectible one day. Our car suffers from the fact that it's got aftermarket wheels and 125,000 miles on the odometer. This was a rally homologation special, 2-liter turbo, made about 200 horsepower, and all-wheel drive on a sports car in those days was semi-exotic. The wheels are Motegi Racing, but I just wondered if this car had fewer miles and was all stock, it would do better. JP, our friends at Classic.com tell us that the average selling price for one of these cars is $27,000. I don't think this one's going to get there. Sitting at $8,750 with 3 days to go. I think the number at Hammer on this one will be $18,000. What do you think of a red Toyota sports car?
Yeah, I mean, that MR2 didn't really meet expectations. You got to love the seller here. Somebody asked Photometer, Photometer 3, the seller, when someone asked, what are the paint meter readings? He's like, what are paint meter readings? I'm going $13,000 FTS. What do you think, Anthony? What's your number?
12.
12 grand. Buddha, where you at?
11. Questionable poor mods. 11,500.
Man, I'm feeling like I went too high anyway. Jeez, I thought it was under. Okay, what do you guys think the Celica will get? We'll talk more about that on the next episode. Let's try to do this last car just so we can get it in the next one.
All right, JP, just because we rarely see them, feast your eyes on this 1975 AMC Pacer with a 3-speed. The car just looks hilarious. It looks even more exotic today than it would have when it was brand new. Out of Nesconset, New York, showing 26,000 miles with an inline 6 and a 3-speed manual and bright red paint. This car is hilarious. JP, our car closes in 3 days. It's sitting at $10,500. According to our friends at Classic.
More than the Celica.
According to our friends at Classic.com, the average selling price of an AMC Pacer is $21,000. And for a 75, it's $23,000. JP, we're at 10.5 with 3 days to go. I'm going to give you the same bid, $18,000 that I put on the Celica, and I think this car gets there and sells. So 18 to you on the Pacer. JP, you're going to go over higher than your bid of 13?
If this car doesn't put a smile on your face, you're a bad person, and we need more smiles out there. I'm going to go 16 grand and hand it to Anthony. What do you think?
21,000.
21. He's going big. Love it. That's going to put a smile on a Pacer owner's face. Buddha, what's your number?
Party time. Excellent. 18K.
All right. I wish we could play licensed music on this show because
Party
we would be
time.
going out with Bohemian Rhapsody. All right.
One announcement, JP. We are going to have a really special guest on our next show. We are expecting David Swig, who is one of the guys at Bring a Trailer. He basically joined the company right when they started doing auctions. He is going to be our guest. And JP, I am very excited that you and I will get to rap with him and play the game with him. So it should be really fun. So please join us on Wednesday. Make a note. David Swig from Bring a Trailer will be third nerd.
That is going to be a big deal. We'll have to put our serious faces on. So join us for that
Howard
great
Swig.
episode.
Howard Swig. I grabbed the wrong Swig.
Oh, sorry.
Howard Swig. Just so
Howard Swig.
Sorry,
All right.
David. Sorry, Howard. I got the those confused. But anyway, Howard Swig. From
All
Bring a
right,
Trailer.
guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're going to take you out. We'll see you Wednesday night. Bye. Thanks, Anthony. Thanks, Buddha.